Can we first ask, but just because you did the 10,000 people that were polled, very interested to see if our next guest, if he was asked this question.
I bet I know the answer for this.
Okay, well,
I'm going to write what I think it is.
This is no way I thought we would start this interview, but Stephen Pearl, the associate Auburn head coach, is with us. Did you watch any of the All-Star game in the NBA?
Honestly, I didn't even know the All-Star game was this weekend.
Put him down for a no?
I wrote down no, too. I wrote down no.
Stephen, I used to be the biggest NBA fan in the world. I didn't watch a minute of it. And so Dunaway was just talking about, was it 10,000 people were polled? 82% didn't turn it on.
Did not turn it on.
10% that did turn it on regretted it immediately.
regretted they turned it on. Only 6 people turned it on and liked it. But I knew you would say no because coming off the win on Saturday, on a Sunday, I imagine a little family time, and then you're back into watching tape on Sunday, getting ready for Monday practice, Tuesday, and then another game on Wednesday. Do you watch tape on Sunday after the game?
Yeah, so bus ride home, I'll watch the game. So just to get it out of your system, and then on Sunday do more of a deeper dive. And what we try and do is we do an offensive and a defensive teaching tape after every game. And depending how much time we have in between games, it could be a little bit more extensive, a little bit longer, or it could be a little shorter and sweeter. And what we try and do is just take some teaching points for the next game and find some things that apply from the previous game that we need to teach from. So did a deep dive into some of the things that we did well against Alabama and some of the things that we got to improve on to get ready for, like you said, a really desperate and a really hungry Arkansas team.
I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but I think I know the answer to this. You teach the defensive side, right?
Yeah, I do the defensive tapes, and then Coach Burgermaster does the offensive side of things.
Defense looked pretty good Saturday.
I'm glad he hears your approval there. Jim approved of your defense.
Yeah, I thought your defense was pretty good.
Thank you, Jim.
You can sleep well this week.
Hey, just
thank God.
Close the laptop. You got to figure it out if Jim approves of it.
I just felt weird saying, man, Auburn's defense won the game, but I'm looking at Alabama scored 85, and by a scoreboard you go 85 is a lot of points. But I was like, I don't know how many easy buckets Alabama had. I don't know if it had one.
Well, I thought Stevens' defense only turned them over 7 times.
Yeah. I just thought it was a brilliant defensive effort.
But we talked about it yesterday. I think the hero of the game was Denver Jones. The way he locked down Alabama's guards, including Mark Sears, who, as BP said, is a tremendous player, one of the best players in the nation. That guy is I don't know if defense sells tickets, but man, if you're ever going to pay a ticket to watch a kid play defense, that kid plays it all out.
Yeah, you look at Denver and all of his matchups this year. Besides the Florida game, he's held the other team's leading scorer to one of their worst offensive production nights of the year, and he did the same thing on Saturday with Sears. 4 for 17. He gets 8 of his 18 from the foul line, and that's not typically where he's going to get a lot of his points. And then on top of that, Mark's done an unbelievable job assisting the ball this year. He only has 2 assists in that game. So they not only rely on, his offensive ability to score the ball, but he does such a great job of getting guys corner 3 balls, getting those bigs involved. And for Alabama to only have 8 assists, that's a huge difference in the game, to make them have to make one-on-one plays. And, they're one of the best offensive teams in the country. They average, close to 90 points a game. So for them to be held to 85 at home, 33 in the first half, which I think was really important for our guys to get off to a really good start on the defensive end. They make 5 threes, which I think is tied for the lowest, since Coach Oates has been there. So, I thought our guys, especially our guards, did a really good job of paying attention to the scouting report, doing a great job of, making them shoot 2s. They shot 44 2-point attempts, which is, I think, 10 more than what they normally average. So, I thought our guards did a great job of making multiple efforts and running them off the 3-point line. And, overall, 85 points is a lot of points. Second half, we didn't guard as well as we would have liked, but they're one of the best offensive teams in the country. So you got to be, happy if you keep them under 90.
You guys controlled that game wire to wire, and they tied it up at 65 apiece. But Tahad Pettiford, the transition 3, how big was that moment? And then a little bit later, the kiss off the top of the glass and the foul.
Yeah, I think there was obviously 3 big moments. I think they had 3 or 4 possessions in the game where they had an opportunity to take the lead out of a 79 possession game. So, I thought our guys, we had 3 different runs of 7-0, 7-0, 9-0 in the second half, and those were all after Alabama made big runs, which we were expecting them to. We knew that it wasn't gonna be a double digit game. Like we just knew that it was gonna be a tight game, and we just had to respond to their runs. So I think, Chad Baker, when the game was tied, sizing up young blood and knocking down that shot was huge. And then, like you said, like Tahad's transition three, like that's a bad shot. But Tahad is a tough shot maker. And the reason why it's a bad shot is there's no rebounding position. There was no one on the backside to rebound it if he missed it. But, Tahad's just a fearless basketball player, and that's a good shot for him. And we had, as soon as he shot it, we had all the confidence in the world that he was going to knock it down. And like you said, hit a really tough layup, which should have been a foul. Cliff, kind of runs through him right there. That should have been and one. So an unbelievably tough finish over a great defender. So yeah, I mean, just a couple really big possessions after Alabama made their run to kind of get the momentum back on our side. And, I thought Chad and Tahad both answered, some really big runs there in the second half.
Each coaching staff knew, win or lose, you were going to have either there was going to be different. The emotions were so big, the national attention was so big. Each coaching staff, winner and loser, was going to have some work to do mentally on for the next game. So after practice yesterday, you have a very mature team. What was it like coming off that big win, back to work, focusing on Arkansas? Because there's no, as Seth Greenberg said on our show yesterday, no rocking chair game in the SEC. Talk to me about the maturity of the level, how your guys are handling such a big win.
I mean, it's on to the next one for them. And I think Johni spoke to it after the game. Obviously, they were happy that they won the game because that may have been the second best win in all of college basketball the entire season on Saturday. Just to be able to win at Alabama with the year that they're having was an incredible, incredible feat for our guys. So they were obviously happy about the win. Everybody was happy on Sunday, but then it was back to getting ready for a really good Arkansas team and one of the most talented teams in our league. And, they had the same, it's a different team, but like Cal's team had the same type of desperation when they came into Neville last year with Kentucky, and they beat our ass. I mean, they played harder than we did. They defended. They made big shots. They controlled the game. So, I mean, we just told our guys, listen, like the level of desperation these guys are going to come in here with is going to be similar to what Florida had, a few weeks ago. And if we don't rise to that level, we're going to get beat. So, the Alabama win means nothing if you don't follow it up with a win on Wednesday night against Arkansas. So that's what our mindset is moving forward. Every game, obviously is important as far as seeding goes, as far as winning a championship goes, and as far as just trying to find ways to continue to grow and get better. So, the message was received, and, I think our guys are locked in and ready for the next challenge.
Auburn Associate Head Coach Stephen Pearl is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. If you were able just to ignore jerseys, does Cal's Arkansas team look just like what he was doing at Kentucky?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different makeup because it's not as many young kids. He's got more transfers on this roster, which is similar to, a couple of teams he's had over the past few years. But as far as the talent goes, I mean, you look up and down that roster and, there's NBA potential, with a lot of those guys. Adu Thiero came in here last year and punked us. Ivisic is one of the best offensive bigs in the league right now. DJ Wagner is one of the best on-ball defenders in addition to Denver Jones. In our conference, even in the country. Nelly Davis, the transfer from FAU, who went all the way to a Final Four, is playing as good of basketball as he's played all year. Carter Knox, a freshman, Billy Richmond, a freshman, are both guys that are playing well. Oh, and not to mention, you had two of the best big transfers out of the SEC with Adu and Brazil. So, I mean, you look up and down that roster, there's just so many good options and so many good players. And, you can kind of see when they really get it going, how good and how capable they are. To go into Rupp Arena and beat a good Kentucky team, they were down 22, I think, to Alabama late in that game and had a few opportunities to tie the game late. So just speaks to their depth and their talent, and they're playing well right now. And, Cal said it after his presser against Texas A&M, that they have to win this game. So, that's the mindset that they're going to have coming into this game. We got to respond to it.
You may know this, and there may be an obvious answer I'm not thinking of. Would you guess this is the coach you guys have faced the most in coach's lifetime? I mean, you guys have been going against Cal for quite a while now.
Yeah, I mean, from the Tennessee days
Yeah.
to now, for sure. Just because, I mean, Cal was the longest tenured coach in the SEC before he left Kentucky to go to Arkansas, and now it's BP. So yeah, from their time at Tennessee when he was at Memphis, and then also at Kentucky, to our times at Auburn against Kentucky, and now to Arkansas. That's definitely the one coach that obviously we faced the most over the years, and every night it's a battle. Every time we get we face up against each other, and I expect tomorrow to be no different.
Fans and media always have good ideas, Stephen. Johni Broome, really good game with 19 and 14. And you don't want to be assumptive you guys are going to win Arkansas, Georgia just because it's in Evelyn. You'll be double-digit favorites. But there's a lot of people out there. Johni doesn't look 100%. Maybe he should sit the next couple of games and get 100%. I'm sure you guys have heard it. Where do you think Johni is health-wise right now?
I mean, he said it before the Alabama game that his ankle felt as good as it's felt since the injury, but I still don't think he's, at 100% right now. I still think that, he's still getting comfortable on that thing on the defensive side of things, especially just being able to push off it and elevate off it.
So is there a discussion to possibly sit him?
No, I mean No, and the only discussion that would be had is if Johni came to us and said, "Hey, I need to sit out these next couple of games." It's completely up to him in regards to his rest. But I mean, he's such a competitor, you guys, that I don't think there's any chance that he's going to want to do that. But I think he's at a point right now where he played 30-something minutes in the Alabama game, so I think he's at a level where the pain is tolerable. I think it's just continuing to get more comfortable each game, just pushing off of it and elevating a little bit more, because that's probably the one area that he's not doing what he was before, is just elevating. Whether it's finishing through contact or going to block shots. He still had 4 or 5 block shots against Alabama, but he's just not jumping as high as he's used to. So I think each game it's getting better. So I would anticipate as the year goes on, as he continues to rehab it and treat it, he'll continue to, get as close to 100% as he possibly can.
It is 1 week from today. You'll be jumping on a plane heading to your first round location for the NCAA tournament. Still 3 weeks of the SEC season left. I'm interested, from the start of the SEC race to now, is there a player that maybe has improved the most from where they were when this started on January 4th to right now, that sort of has earned that extra playing time, that extra nod, that extra minute from the coaching staff, whether it's offensively or defensively? Who would you say, man, that guy since January 4th has really improved his game?
Chaney Johnson is just, that's a no-brainer. He's been unbelievable for us. And, for Chaney, when Chaney's able to not be in foul trouble and we're able to keep him on the floor for 25-plus minutes, we're just better. He's scored in double digits in his last 4 games, shooting incredibly efficient percentages. He's made a 3 in his last couple games, and he's shooting that with more confidence. And, defensively, he's just really good. He can guard positions 1 through 5. You guys saw it in the Vanderbilt game. He went 8 for 8 from 2 and went on like a 9-0 run by himself. So he's just been so important for us on both ends of the floor. He's our hardest worker. He just trains his tail off, and it's just an Alabama kid that we're just so happy that we have on this team. He's an incredible teammate, and he just makes us better when he's in there. So from the beginning of conference play to now, he's just improved so much and has continued to step up to the bell every single time. Played 33 minutes against Alabama, 14 points, 5 rebounds, and doesn't turn the ball over. So when Johni's out there, we're a better basketball team.
All right, 8 o'clock tomorrow night, ESPN at Neville Arena as Auburn takes on Arkansas. Good luck against the Hogs, Coach. As always, we appreciate the time.
Appreciate you, fellas.
All right, buddy. Take care. That is Stephen Pearl, the Auburn Associate Head Coach, with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.